to Mummy Mayhem. First of all, we apologise for being absent for so long, but as you can imagine, most of you being mums yourselves, the summer holidays were a bit of a mission. I think we struggled just to keep our sanity, let alone find some time to film and be able to talk to you guys. So we really do apologise for that, but we are back and we are getting straight into it for you.
And ready to go?
Yeah, we are. So, our first video back, we thought that we would talk about something that raises a lot of opinions, shall we call them, between mums and dads. Yeah, debates, a lot of debates. And that is co-sleeping. And sort of methods that get you through motherhood, especially the early years.
Through the nights at least.
Yes, through the night.
Sleep.
Whether you're all for co-sleeping, oh, I just made my leg jump, did you see that? And whether you're for co-sleeping or completely against it. Obviously everybody has their own opinions of it. We know what is recommended by health professionals, but sometimes that just isn't possible, and even the health professionals know that. So we thought maybe we'd start with our own experiences of it. Shall I let you jump in?
I've always been dead against it. I think it's because I like my sleep and I like my own bed, and I don't like the kids getting into bed unless they're very ill.
I don't want ill kids in my bed.
Well,
no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I had it when Amber had, and this was obviously being when she was older, so she had to have an MRI and they sedated her. So they told us to be obviously wary of her for 24 hours. So we had her in our bed at the time because we were then worried that if she wakes up in the night and we didn't have a stairgate on her stairwell, so she could fall down the stairs because she doesn't realise what she's doing. So yes, I only do it very rarely, and it's not even co-sleeping, to be honest, it's just keeping an eye on her. And most of the time if they are ill, they actually just sleep in our room on the floor with their duvet. So I just like my bed and I like my space, and I don't know, I've always just felt a bit weird about it. Like I've always tried, thankfully my kids have just got themselves into a routine of sleep. So it would always be go upstairs, they would go in their Moses basket or cot, and that was it. And like now and again if they woke up, I would just obviously feed them and then put them back. So I've never had to, because I've not breastfed as well. I've not found the necessary need to keep them in with me. Obviously there is cases where like I've near enough fallen asleep with them, not realising, but I've then wake myself up and put them straight back. And
I think there probably would be a link between breastfeeding and co-sleeping.
Yeah.
Because at the newborn stage especially, a breastfeeding feed can last a lot longer than a bottled feed. And there can also be more of them because obviously the amount of times they feed brings in the milk they need. So if they need more, they're going to feed more.
And you don't know exactly how much they're taking either. So
no,
they
exactly.
might just
have a little nibble and then wake up half an hour later and want some more. Yeah. But I think that is probably partially the reason why I ended up doing things the way I did. All 4 of mine have been breastfed. First time around, she slept in her own bed, and actually from 4 weeks old she slept through the night, so it was never really an issue, never even had to think about it. She never ever slept in our bed. Maybe she'd fall asleep in our bed and we'd move her, like if we'd been having cuddles with her, but we were never asleep. And then when Honey was born, obviously she was ridiculously premature, and I'm actually really grateful that she did end up co-sleeping with us, because she was that premature that she'd forget to breathe, and she would be next to me in the bed because I'd been feeding her continuously, because she'd feed like every hour on the hour. She was a nightmare. I don't actually know how I survived the first 13 months of her life.
I don't think I could have ever done that.
13 months, and it was pretty much every hour, constantly, all the time. It was so much. But because she was in my bed and because she was right next to me and so close to me, I would instinctively wake up when she stopped breathing. And I just knew to sort of pick her up and give her a smack on the back, and that when they're premature they're unaware that they're doing it, so then she'd just be like and start breathing again and go back to sleep. And there's me left sat there traumatised, staring at her like, oh my goodness, I just nearly lost my baby. But so I'm really glad that she was in the bed, because had she have not been in the bed, I might not have known that she'd stopped breathing, and I wouldn't have known to jumpstart her again, you know.
That's quite scary, isn't it? And that's kind of like,
so I was thankful for that. And then with Jay, started out with not co-sleeping, and sort of he was in his Moses basket right next to me, but sometimes he would end up, and we've got a visitor, hello. He would sometimes end up in with me, you know, on those long nights or when he was feeding ridiculously. And then with Winter, I kind of knew that it was going to be the same struggle, so we had the bedside crib, which made life so much easier. I could feed her and move her back into hers, so it made life a lot easier. And especially if you're going to decide to co-feed, I think invest in one of those bedside cribs, because it keeps them safe.
Yeah. I think that's a good
and
idea.
It makes it easier for you.
You know, if that is kind of the way you're going, especially breastfeeding wise, I think that's probably one of the better things to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it did make life so much easier for both of us, really. And I could see her, you know, if I woke up and I was worried about her, I could just look over and she's right there, and I knew she was safe and sound. And you know,
I think you do as a mother, though, it's an instinct, isn't it? You just like look at them,
you
check sure they're
when they're newborn as well,
breathing,
like,
and
you know.
they're not too cold, not too hot.
Okay.
It's just one of those things. But yeah, I mean, both of us have had completely different experiences. But again, it's quite funny because of mine. I've been bottle fed all three of mine. Not because I never wanted to breastfeed, it was just the fact of I couldn't properly breastfeed, unfortunately. And to know that obviously co-sleeping does tend to stick around like breastfeeding mums. It's not, I don't think it's them. I don't know, from your experiences, especially with Honey, right? Yeah,
it was just out of exhaustion. You know, there was no point me moving her, because if I moved her, it was using more of my energy, and I'd then have to get up again, sort of half an hour later, to feed her again. So
breastfeeding every hour as well, that is exhausting, because if it's your food, if you're not getting enough food yourself as well to maintain
honestly,
that.
She was ridiculous, and I do not know how I survived that period of time, but we did.
You're here still.
And I'm here, and she's here, so that's fine. Bed. Yeah, we're talking about beds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you sleeping in Mummy and Daddy's bed when you were little? Yeah, well, you slept in your special crib attached to Mummy and Daddy's bed. So I think, you know, you have to do what's best for you. Obviously, if you're co-sleeping, make safety decisions. So invest in one of those next to me cribs, because you know, sometimes they might not stay in there. It might, you know, the baby might end up in the middle of the bed with you or on your side of the bed. But just be careful. Never ever smoke or drink in the room, or obviously don't drink if the baby's going to be in the bed. And if you're breastfeeding, you probably won't be drinking anyway, but make sure the same applies to your partner. Don't have too many pillows on the bed. You're not supposed to have a duvet on the bed either. Just make precautions to keep your baby safe, because yes, you might be exhausted and it might be the easiest option for you at the time, but you don't want to make a great mistake, so just be careful. But ultimately, do what's best for you, really. You have to. Motherhood is all about doing what's best for you, what works for you and your baby.
Yeah, I think with everything, like, you never know, you just kind of wing it every day. It's like it's a new adventure, if you want to put it that way, I suppose, in especially newborns. It's not a manual. There's no manual to it. You can read all the, you can read all the baby books and things like that, but it doesn't mean that your baby's going to be exactly like their baby and do everything that they say is going to be what should happen, and that doesn't happen. It doesn't go the way it says it's supposed to. And it's just, we all get there eventually. Yeah, it's just do what you need to do.
Exactly. So whatever you decide to do, good luck, and we hope you get enough shut-eye.
Yeah, we need it.
We do. Bye.